Good morning. I'm coming to you at long last from a fine, beautiful, sunny day in Alberta. And I'm so glad to be able to update you guys. I know it's been a terribly long time since I put out an update video, and I just wanted to catch everybody up on everything that's happening in our lives and what I've been doing when I haven't been updating you guys on things. So, number one, we're excited to say that we have a baby on the way. So our 10th child will be born, God willing, sometime around the end of January, beginning of February. And we're excited for this new edition that will be entering our lives very shortly. We're loving living in this Lacombe area, and we're so excited to be here. Thank you so much for your prayers as we've transitioned to a new place. We've been here since May, and it has just been a rich blessing for us. We have a good church at Clive Baptist Church, a church that I grew up at, the church where we were married. And they've been so supportive and so encouraging. We're starting to make friends and get connected in the church community. I get to do a little Sunday school teaching and lead a small group, so that's a real blessing. And we've been really enjoying the time there. And I thank you all for your support financially. It's been a long season of work and travel and all these things, and we can't do it without you. And I've been reminded that even more lately because we have a couple of new missionaries coming on board, which is fantastic news. And I've been walking through the support raising journey with them. And it's just reminded me of how challenging it is to do a job like this where we have to live totally on faith and trust in God, but how much of a blessing it is to have people like you who are willing to support and to care for us in this journey and to provide so that we can do the work of the Lord and really reach out and touch people's lives. Since we talked last, I've been in Brazil. I went down there and I taught Old Testament in July. It was a really good experience, really good students. I actually had my birthday down there and they surprised me with a birthday cake while I was there, and we celebrated, and it was a good time of ministry and seeing the work that God is doing in Brazil. Pray for them down there. The prosperity gospel is really attacking poor people. This idea that if you just give a bunch of money, you'll get a bunch more. There's a lot of need and a lot of pain in Brazil right now. In August, I went to Kenya and helped to set up a new site. I think I've talked to you guys about this before, but this is exciting because it's the first time we've employed native African trainers to do the actual TLI training work, and we were just working to set that up. So a couple of guys, Benson and Sunday, really great men of God, came from Uganda, and Nathan Betcher, one of our new missionaries, and I met them in Kenya, and we worked with George Imbara, who's my partner there, to create a whole new site. We had 30 students who were just eager and paying attention and ready to be there in difficult circumstances. Some of them had to walk 10 miles every day to come to school, to come to the church, and to learn, but they were willing to do it because none of them had ever had this type of training before. It was such an exciting thing to watch the passion and the excitement that they had as they were learning about hermeneutics, about how to interpret the Bible and how to preach and teach the Bible. Then after that, I got the opportunity to go to Bali and to a Cape and Ray there run by Grant Weber, who's a friend of mine. And I got to teach the students there. It was an interesting experience, really good teaching the students, hot and humid, and I ended up with ants in my bedstead, and then in the middle of the night I fought an invasion of ants. It was a deadly battle, but I came out on top and ended up with a pile of corpses of my enemies to help me to enjoy life. So Bali's an interesting place. There's 10,000 temples. They call it the land of 10,000 temples, and everybody is in bondage, spiritual bondage, to this Hindu mindset and way of seeing the world, where you have to sacrifice constantly for fear of what will happen if you don't. And we have the privilege as Christians of knowing that we don't have to worry about what God will do to us if we don't sacrifice to Him and give Him things all the time. He doesn't need anything from us. He longs for us to be in relationship with Him and to help us and strengthen us. It's a wonderful thing that we have with our God. I also got to go down to Serbia and teach again in Serbia. I actually did double duty because the guy that was teaching leadership couldn't make it. So I was teaching leadership in the morning, and then I was teaching a class called Knowing God for Life in the afternoon. Knowing God for Life is one of my favorite classes to teach. It's kind of a basic theology class, but it really reminds us who we are, who God is, and what he does for us. So it was such a blessing to spend that time again in Serbia. And it was especially meaningful because there was a graduation, and a guy named Abihu, who I have walked with through the whole journey, graduated. And to see him, he's actually Indonesian, to see him preparing to go into ministry and even to go back to Indonesia to the mission field there is wonderful and so encouraging. I also traveled down to the United States in October for our big yearly staff meeting and spent some time with the TLI US guys. And then I have just returned from the Evangelical Theological Society that met in Boston in Massachusetts, and spent a wonderful time connecting with people, trying to encourage people to join TLI and to do missions with us. Met with some Ukrainian folks that are doing the work of the Lord in Ukraine at this time. It was a really blessed time. And God was so good to me while I was there, just to have those opportunities and find those conversations with people who are potential missionaries. We have so much work to do and so few workers. I ask that you'd pray, just bring more missionaries, Lord, because we could have 25 more sites open tomorrow if we just had the people to do the work. Another big project since the last time that I've talked to you is I had to build an office. And so I spent my holiday constructing this office, and I finally have got it done. In between trips, I've been trying to finish the last little bits, and by the grace of God, it's now done. And I've got my books set up, which for me, books is sanity. I need to organize them. They're all scattered here and there. But I have a lovely place where I can actually work that won't cost TLI rental money every month, and will enable us to be able to function again on the administrative side. I've been in such limbo for the last year, having no real place since we moved out of the other house. Had no real place to work to do admin. So I'm so grateful to God that he's given me the opportunity and the skills to be able to build this myself. So I'm thankful for that. I don't have any more teaching trips till May, which I'm very grateful for with the baby coming. And quite frankly, I drained my ministry account because so many trips, 7 trips this last year, was more than I was supposed to do. Probably it should be about 5 a year. But it was very hard to say no when people asked that I'd come and teach them. So pray for me too, that I'll have the wisdom to only say yes when I need to. Like I say, we have 2 new missionaries coming on. Jacques Boulet has actually already come on board. I might have talked to you guys about him. And then now we have this new fellow, Nathan Betcher, who's just raising support. And I'm really appreciating seeing what God is doing in their lives. And I pray that you'd pray for them too, because it's a hard road jumping into this kind of ministry. And I'm just reminded every time I have a new person come in and every time I walk through this journey with them, how much dependence upon Christ you end up having by force. And it's a good thing, but it's also a difficult time. The final thing that I want to tell you about is I got to actually teach in Canada at a place called Foundation Baptist Seminary, and it was a lovely chance to teach Canadian church history. It's a subject that's not often taught, but in March I taught the first part, and then I went back in November here, early November, and I taught the second part of Canadian church history, focusing on 1867 to the modern time. And as I studied and prepared to teach, I was amazed at how much the church in Canada has always desperately needed God, desperately needed provision, desperately needed his help. We know that we kind of grew up in a world where people thought that, it was a Christian country. Some of us are old enough anyway to remember that kind of a world. But it was always a desperate need for him in order to have enough to provide, in the sense of pastors to go and to preach the gospel, churches to be present in people's community lives, resources in order to do the work of the Lord and missions and all the rest of that. But right from the get-go, right from the start, Canada has been a place that has also sent and has given to other places and to other people. And we can be thankful for what God has done in and through the Canadian church. And I want us to be reminded of that, because sometimes we can start feeling like, maybe the gospel is losing. But what I'm seeing is the gospel is winning all over the world, and the gospel is winning in Canada. God is at work. The harvest is ripe, and he is sending workers to the harvest. Our job, as the Bible says, is to pray to the Lord of the harvest to send more workers. But it's his job to actually do the work, to send us, to care for us, to provide for us, and to keep us. And he is such a good and a faithful God. When I was in Cape and Ray, we were singing that song, The Goodness of God. And it says, all my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so good. And this is the truth that I see over and over again. No matter how much I struggle, no matter how hard things are, God is always faithful. He's always trustworthy. He will never let us down. He will never leave us or forsake us. And this is what we have in him. Not someone who demands perfection, but someone who heals us, who restores us, who redeems us, and who is faithful in all things. So I pray that you'll be blessed today. I'm sorry it has been so long since I updated you. Please reach out. Please connect with me. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to know what's going on in your life. And I'd love to, if possible, take time to have a cup of tea or to visit with you on the phone. So please feel free to reach out. Bless you all and have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas season as it comes.